right, so let me get started here. So first and foremost, hello, Sunita. Thanks for joining us here on podcast. So not a lot of people might be familiar with you. So can you talk a little bit more about your role at Microsoft and how it relates to Microsoft Viva?
Sure, absolutely. I'm Sunita Khatri. I'm a Senior Director of Product Marketing for Microsoft Viva, and I joined the company, I want to say, a little over a year ago to lead the product marketing for the Viva product. It debuted last year in February. So I work very closely with our product and engineering teams on the vision, the shape of Viva, how we take that into the market. I also have a team of talented product marketers that do product marketing for various different product offerings within the Viva portfolio.
So you said Viva like 10 times in one sentence there. So what is Microsoft Viva? Because not all of our viewers and listeners might know what Viva is. So before we jump any further, can you tell us what is Microsoft Viva in just a couple of words or a couple of sentences, if you may?
Yes, of course. So Microsoft Viva is a digital employee experience platform. It brings together culture, communications, knowledge, well-being, learning, growth, development goals, all in the flow of work right within Microsoft 365 and Teams so that people can be their best from anywhere.
So Microsoft is known to innovate and empower people. So where did the idea for Microsoft Viva come from? And I know it was a time it came up during the pandemic. So was the pandemic and all the stresses from the pandemic a good reason for Microsoft to invent Viva?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it in the sense of like when Microsoft debuted Viva a little over a year ago, it was right at the time where workers in the workplace was right in the middle of sort of the post in the midst of sort of the pandemic and the way of world of work that was shaping, right? People were feeling disconnected, they were burnt out. And this was following a year of just, people working from their homes and their offices and their home offices and their living rooms. But I mean, at the end of the day, we were already thinking about the digital disconnect in the workforce before that. And I think the pandemic just kind of accelerated the need for a digital employee experience platform even more than that. But if you think about sort of the last couple of decades, the proliferation of technology in the workplace, from human capital management tools to different point solutions trying to solve for things like employee engagement, well-being programs, learning programs. It's been really good to see all this investment in making work better for employees, but it's also left the workplace in a sort of fragmented condition where employees are constantly hunting for the things that they need. Things aren't intuitive. There's a lot of friction in the workplace. And so that's really where Viva and sort of the vision was Viva was born out of, is to be sort of that engagement layer, that employee engagement layer that kind of brings things together in a really intuitive and intelligent way for employees.
So Viva and Teams, they go hand in hand. I know that Teams has, I think it's 270 million monthly active users the last time Microsoft reported it. So how do the two fit together and how do they intertwine with each other? Because I know Teams has so many users, so it's a good chance for Microsoft to get Viva out there to more people.
Yeah, good question. Viva is built right within Microsoft Teams and the broader Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So there's an element of Viva being a destination right within Teams that you can sort of access and engage in all the different pieces of connecting to your colleagues, being able to kind of connect to your learning, get your insights, check in on your goals, things like that. And it's happening in a destination environment where work is happening every day, just like Microsoft Teams, right? Microsoft's that hub for how we chat, how we conversate, how we communicate. And the idea is building an experience platform that's really woven into where work is happening and meeting employees where they are. And the other piece of it is that we're also sort of built within sort of the ecosystem of Microsoft 365. So whether it's your insights that are showing up in a test destination in Teams, or they're showing up in your inbox through the Viva email, for example, right? The idea is that we want to be present where work is happening, and we want to, it's less tax on the employee and more of sort of that frictionless employee experience.
And part of the thing that makes Viva great is that it has different modules, and each module can help you accomplish different tasks or solve some of the problems of the stresses that you get at work. So, can you briefly touch on each of these modules? And I assume that you use Viva, so which one would be your favorite?
Yeah, I do use Viva. I'm a big advocate for it, even in my team, in my department as well. And so I'll start with Viva Connections. I think of Viva Connections as sort of the central place for how we imagine employers being able to engage their workforce through communication, through town halls, through events, through what's happening across communities. It's really sort of that destination that comes and brings everything together. And so even if I had to go and like search for things, or if I had to get access to my HR portal, my IT portal, we really want things to kind of come together for employees in a centralized and a holistic way, just like we have in our personal lives, a consumer grade experience, right? The other piece of connections that I think is so important to point out is that there's an element of what we call extensibility in the connections experience, so that even if I'm like a person who works not tied to a computer all day long, and I'm on the front lines, there's an element of like, hey, if I need to kind of check in and clock in and clock out, I can go to that experience and be able to have the right to-dos and the right actions that are surfacing from other backend systems and tools that my company have invested in, right? So the idea of really minimizing the overlap and really capitalizing on the investments that companies have made with all the great technology that they've brought in, and surfacing that technology right into the connections experience. So that's kind of how you think about connections. Learning, so Viva Learning, I think of Viva Learning, well, I think in general, learning is really not a destination, it's a journey. It happens everywhere, it happens implicitly, explicitly. And so learning is designed to be sort of that central hub and bring structured learning and on-demand learning and sort of recommended and intuitive learning right in the flow of work in the team's environment. But the way we're thinking about Viva Learning is we're also looking at it as it extends beyond sort of just the destination and teams, but into things like, email and things like Microsoft Search. And so the idea is Viva Learning is really also very social and collaborative in the sense that people can share, people can collaborate right in teams, they can track learning progress. And also it's designed in a way to really make learning a lot more intuitive, to and also make learning smarter, right? Like what are your learning preferences? What do you want to learn more about, and how can we recommend that type of learning to you so that you're not going after it? And then Viva Topics, I think it's a lot more sort of, less of the explicit learning, but more of the implicit learning, right? Using AI to really take content and knowledge and transform that across the organization into what we call topics, topic cards, and topic pages. And so AI is doing sort of the first pass at it, and then you go in and have knowledge managers really help curate that, keep that knowledge, structured in a way that makes most sense for the organization. And so it's really reducing sort of it's leveraging AI to really work in your favor across your organization and surface the right topics and the right acronyms to employees right in the flow of work, and it stretches across sort of the surfaces of Microsoft 365. And then last but not least, I'll talk a little bit about Viva Insights. So Insights, I think, is really focused around this balance of productivity and well-being. And there's three ways to think about it. There's actually two ways fundamentally to think about it. One is, how as an individual can I use the insights and actions that are recommended to me to help protect who I am and be the best at work? But also, how can managers and leaders better get the data points they need to help pinpoint where there are, opportunities for improvement, for well-being, for engagement, for productivity across their teams and departments?
And which of the four is your favorite?
Oh wow. I think I'll have to say Insight is my favorite at the moment. I use it, as a manager and as a leader, sometimes it's really hard to disconnect and be mindful about disconnecting. And I really appreciate how Viva sort of nudges me and sort of is my life coach and helping me be more mindful about disconnecting, recharging, coming back to work in a much more meaningful way.
So, what has the feedback and the success stories been with Viva? I know Microsoft always has these amazing stories about how customers love their products and how customers are using their products. So, what has the feedback been on Viva?
Yeah, so we had our 1 year anniversary in February, so we're excited. We are 1 year old plus, and over just a little over the year, we have Viva is at now 10 million monthly active users, and is being used by more than 1,000 customers worldwide. And our customer success teams and our customer reference teams have done a fantastic job bringing together some exciting success stories of customers that are, you can find them on our website for brands like Bloom and Nationwide and Unilever and REI. And these companies are really using Viva to kind of approach hybrid work, figure out digital employee experience now that people are in sort of disparate locations. They're really focused on using Viva to, drive engagement and connection in the workplace, bring out their employee value proposition through culture and connectivity, and use the data to be able to inform decision making on what's the next step that they're going to take to really drive business outcomes. So it's been exciting to see the growth and the success with our customers, but also we've grown the platform with our ecosystem of partners. We're up to about 25 to almost 30 partner integrations. So these are integrations that customers can just plug and play with. And as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to minimize the overlap and really introduce, sort of cohesion across existing systems and tools. And so it's been really exciting to see the progress there as well. And the joint value prop that's coming to life with some of these leading partner integrations like, Workday and ServiceNow. And there's been some fun statistics to share as well in the platform itself, the telemetry of the platform. So things like there's about 9 million praises have been sent in Viva to congratulate colleagues. 48 million focus hours have been booked each month, and more than, I think it was 1 million topic pages for sharing knowledge has been generated to date. And so it's been exciting to see the progress.
Those are all great stats, but there's stuff that products always evolve at Microsoft. You've seen it with Windows, you see it with Office. So, how does Microsoft work with its customers and its clients to improve Viva, just like they do with Teams, Windows, and Office?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. We are listening and we are engaging, and customer feedback is critical for us in the juncture and where we're at with Viva right now, especially because one of our key product innovation themes is continuously deepening, enhancing the existing value of the current portfolio of, that we've introduced in market. So what we're focused on right now is prioritizing the top asks that our customers have, being very intentional about these and prioritizing them on our roadmap, articulating those to customers that require these certain features and capabilities. Our engineering teams are just working really hard to make sure that these are getting fit into our and getting accommodated across our semester planning and our ongoing upcoming semester roadmaps. In addition to that, we have for each of our major product releases, what we do is we introduce private preview programs. And so the idea here is that we want to foster co-innovation with our customers prior to taking a lot of this technology and broadening it and bringing it into sort of the broader customer community. And in addition to that, I think the last thing I will touch on is we've created a new community for just our Viva early adopters. And we meet regularly with this community to get feedback on our current roadmap, but our ideas as well. Some of the new things that we're envisioning, like some of the innovation that we want to bring into the portfolio that we're not ready to share with everyone yet, but we want to kind of bring in a small group of customers and say like, hey, does this sound like a good idea to you? Does this feel right? Would you invest in this? Would you use it? Would this be valuable and beneficial to you, right? And so co-innovation is a big theme for us.
So last question, probably can't answer it because you can't spill all the secrets, but is there anything you could share about the future of Microsoft Viva?
Yeah, of course, the $1 million question. Um, yeah, so actually, I am really thrilled to share that we are launching the private preview of our latest product offering in Viva called Viva Goals. This is a latest product offering that's going to be a part of our portfolio. It's really focused on goals and goal setting and goal management. And this dates back to October of last year when we announced the acquisition of Ally.io, which we announced as joining the Viva family. And we also announced in November of last year that we would make this offering available as a part of our suite that customers can purchase. And so just a little background on Ally and what it does. So Ally is a digital OKR platform, so objective key results. And it's really designed to kind of help an organization plan for their strategic priorities and unite teams, departments around specific goals and objectives around those priorities. And so that, you as an individual know exactly what it is that you're going to work on, but how does that work ladder up into your team, into your department, into to sort of the organization's top initiatives in the company, right? And so this is so critical. I mean, this type of alignment is often so difficult to do when we were all physically together. But imagine now with us, some companies being 100% remote. This is even tougher to do now, right? Like, what are you working on? What's your job? What's my job? Like, how does this all collectively come together, right? And, the data shows us that companies that use this type of approach, right, when their teams, departments aligned, focus on goals and priorities, have a routine check-in on what they are reporting out key results. The companies that do this actually outperform and outshine in company culture, in the sense of like people who have this type of sort of process in place, they're more inspired by their work, and then also they feel more empowered to take risks as well. And so we're just super excited. Viva Goals is going to become sort of another offering in the Viva portfolio in Teams. There'll be a digital hub for how everybody works on goals on a day-to-day basis, checks in on their goals across teams and departments. And then naturally, the vision is that this will start to integrate across broader Microsoft 365 apps and services, but also in first-party Viva experiences like Viva Insights, Viva Email, and Viva Connections. So that's what's happening under the radar here. We will be opening up a what we call a private preview for a select group of customers to come, join us on this adventure as we work towards general availability later this year. Customers will have a chance to kind of really interface with this new experience, rebranded in Teams on the Azure platform. It'll include like free product access, OKR training, technical onboarding. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Sunita. We really appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking about Microsoft Viva.
Of course. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.